Hello, this is Dr. Brett Butterfield, and today I'm going to talk to you about phase 1 in the phases of healing. It's known as initiate comprehensive healing. This phase is a minimum of 14 days, but if you are not following the requirements of the program, or if you are quite sick, then it could take longer, as much as 3 or 4 weeks. And all the requirements of phase 0 are still requirements of phase 1, with one exception, and that's with sweeteners. In phase 1, we allow the use of unrefined cane sugars in moderate amounts as a sweetener is allowed. And the brands I would recommend would be stevia, scratch that, Sucanut Steens Rapidura. Okay, stevia is not allowed. Okay, I just want to make a point there. So in phase 1, you've been implementing those basic lifestyle choices. So it was being careful with sweeteners, drinking your water, doing physical activity, and doing TBM core essence protection visualization. In phase 1, there's going to be additional requirements. Phase 1, there is a sugar control phase. And that's a diet that is specifically designed to keep to take stress off of your sugar regulation mechanisms. Okay? So in order to accomplish that, there's going to be a specific diet which will be in your handout. It's under sugar control phase. Okay? If you don't like some of the restrictions in this diet, remember, it's only for 14 days. If you're good, some people might need a little bit more. So you can do that. You can do it for 14 days. Our long-term goal is we want an omnivore diet that is inclusive of all foods, as long as they're clean, they're prepared well, good quality foods. Okay? So in that diet, there's certain foods that are mandatory. Those foods are mandatory because they are stabilizing to the blood sugar. So it's basically a meat and veggies diet. Okay, takes stress off the body. It's also hypoallergenic. It's going to be required for you to eat frequently and eat a strong breakfast. So again, this is stabilizing to the blood sugar. That's not a long-term goal. We want to be able to, for you to go longer without eating. There's benefits in a calorie-restricted diet and intermittent fasting. But in phase 1, you're going to eat frequently. Okay, we want you to never be hungry. So again, there's different requirements of each phase, and that's the requirements of this one. There are foods that are forbidden. Those are the ones that are most likely to put stress on your sugar regulation mechanisms. That's going to be grains, sweeteners, some starchy vegetables, and different things. Okay, refer to your handout for those. This is where there's a few items there that are great foods. I think grain products, legumes, nuts, those can be great foods as part of an omnivore diet and when prepared correctly. But in phase 1, we eliminate them. Okay. Now there are some exceptions to those. So there's an allowed section, and that gives more variety to your diet. And so there are certain raw nuts that you can eat. There's certain grain products that can be eaten as long as they're prepared in the right way. So you'll refer to that. There is a cookbook that was written by Jacqueline Paltis, and it's called The Sugar Control Cookbook and Bible. And so she is a TBM instructor who's passed away now. And she was a chiropractor and a naturopath, so this can be a great resource if you're wanting a little extra help on the diet to give you some ideas on how to prepare that food. So while you're doing this diet, we're going to be doing a total overhaul on your physiology. And that's why this is called Initiate Comprehensive Healing. So it's holistic. We're going to be going through every organ and function in the body. but it's also very individualized. It's going to look different for different people. So the exams that we're going to cover are going to be basic physiological exams, structural, allergy, emotional, energy, learning, and immunological. Okay, so we want to get everything running on all cylinders so you can be successful with your health goals. This builds a foundation for us. It helps us so we're not putting out fires. If you start going straight for the pathology and you haven't built this foundation, then you're going to have to go back and make sure that those things are working. So it's actually the fastest way to move forward. So my assistant, Leanne, she is the one who performs these procedures in office. These are nervous system attunements that have been used for, at this point, 43 years. They've been taught around the world. And they're very effective at getting the body back online and functional. And this makes it so that when you are doing the right things, when you're living a healthy lifestyle, it makes it so you get the results. It's very common that people will come into me, and people who visit naturopaths, they're doing a lot of the right things. They're living a healthy lifestyle, but they're not getting the results they want. And as I see it, that's because they have compromised their nervous system or their proper regulation and control of their body. When you stress out an organ or function in the body, it kind of blows out, almost like a fuse in your electric box. And so we're going to go flip the fuse back on, which we do through some of these simple, non-invasive procedures. And they're fixed, they stay on, as long as you don't stress it out again. Okay? So that's why we couple this with the sugar control phase, so we can relieve the stressors. Now, long term, we're building resilience for your body so that you're not going to have to live in a bubble, so you're not going to be so limited. So we're going to test your body's resilience at the end of phase 1 by eating what we call a challenge meal. So it's going to challenge your sugar regulation mechanisms, and we do that by eating a high glycemic load meal. So at the end of the 2 weeks, you only get 90 minutes to eat this one meal, and you eat, a great meal would be pizza and beer, or burger and fries. You could eat a baked potato, pasta, sugarcane sweetened dessert. So these are things that are going to stress that sugar regulation mechanism. The very next day, we want you coming into the office first thing. So you go back on the diet after that meal, and then you come in and we test and see how your body did. Okay, now if you pass your challenge meal, then you get to move on to phase 2. All right, I'll talk more about phase 2 in the next video. The only other important thing to cover in phase 1 is, so we're going to be doing those treatments, those nervous system attunements, which a person who is sick, who really needs help with their health, they need 3 visits a week. This is a period of intensive care. So for that 3-week period, we need 3 visits a week to get your body back online. If you're someone who's coming in and you're not super sick, you're wanting to feel better, might be able to get away with 2 visits a week. So we determine that on a case-by-case basis. So, and then with that, at the end of your very first day, we are going to assess supplements. There's a good chance if you're taking supplements that we won't use your supplements. We'll check them out. If you're using supplements that are compatible with what we're doing and it's going to work with what we're doing, then we can use them. And we're not trying to make a bunch of money off of supplements, and I think that this is something that sets us apart from a lot of other health practitioners, is we're able to achieve a lot of our results based off of these procedures, these nervous system attunements, which are taught by TBM, total body modification. So with supplements, we test about a dozen different supplements during these 2 weeks, and you'll end up needing about half of that is typical. And these are very economic supplements. They're minerals and vitamins and probiotics, things like that. And typically in our office, it ends up being around $125 is typical. Again, that varies from person to person, depending on what they need. But yeah, so these are raw materials that are going to give the body what it needs in order to thrive. Things that it may be difficult to get enough of in your diet with our modern diets. Okay, so this is phase 1. So we bring together 3 different components, and that's going to be these TBM procedures. It's going to be diet and lifestyle, and then support it with supplements. Okay, so each 3 of these components are important. Some people will ask, well, why do I have to come in 3 times a week? We need to get your body back online. We need all of these. They're kind of like circuits. I'm kind of like an electrician in that the body is electric. Your body runs off of bioelectricity, and we need to make sure that everything is working before we can move on to the next phase. Otherwise, we end up chasing our tail. So that's why we do things this way. It's been done this way for 43 years. I'm not going to change it. This is how we know to get results, and we can systematically get people better. So that's phase 1. Next, I'm going to talk about phase 2 of healing.